Major extensions across Major League Baseball, including Christian Campbell for the Boston Red Sox, Marte for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and some other extensions that were done today as well. Dodgers get a trade done today, bringing in Esteury Ruiz from the Oakland A's, former top prospect from the Milwaukee Brewers that ultimately cost them significant pieces in that deal as well. Some fallout from some other poor trades that have been made in years past coming home to roost today. We'll also get into MLB power rankings, and we'll discuss how teams have risen a lot better than what they were expected to do out of the gate, and how some teams have really fallen on their face. And we'll finally check in and see if the Atlanta Braves have finally become the last beaten team in the league to finally get a victory. That and much more ahead here at the Upside. And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily. Be sure to hit that thumbs up at the bottom of the video. It goes a long way to helping us out here at the Upside. Follow us here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. And follow us over on X at Upside SN and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network. As I mentioned, we had some significant news as far as extensions today. We'll begin with Jackson Merrill. Good deal for both sides as this keeps him there in San Diego anyway. I believe it's an 8-year deal overall. Great deal for them. I'm excited to see what he's going to have going forward here. We'll check in on the numbers specifically here in just a moment. Christian Campbell locked up for a significant period of time as well. And Marte. Now, the one thing I'm kind of noticing as far as a trend with these deals, a lot of these kind of tweener type of players are getting these type of deals. That's why I'm surprised Jackson Merrill is in this group. I thought he might have been one guy that held out for best dollar, but maybe he just loves being in San Diego so much. But either way, we are seeing some good moves made by good GMs out there. So we see a lot of these longer-term deals not work out for teams like the Seattle Mariners as of late. The Rays have had some difficulty in recent years getting these extensions to work. But you look at a team at the Atlanta Braves who've done a great job locking up their young talent. The reason why they're able to manage their payroll so effectively and have so much talent on their payroll is because their ability to lock up these guys very early. Just look at Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris, among several other players that they've locked up for significant years of all their arbitration years and then a few years of their free agency. We saw that again today with the deals that we saw for Marte, Campbell, and Merrill. We'll get into the power rankings here in just a moment, but let's go ahead and check in around the league and just kind of see where the headlines are at, how the day went across the league anyway. All right, so let me update the page here because it's been a minute since I just refreshed this. Dodgers have come back to tie it in the bottom of the 8th inning. Once again, the bullpen faltering there for Atlanta. But we'll have to see if they're able to pull this one out. This will be their first win of the season if they are able to get it done. I'm not expecting it at this point. They've had a really tough time so far to begin the year. Offense has really struggled. This is the first time we've really seen their offense do really anything today, which was 8 hits, 5 runs. Not exactly a banner day for an offense, but it's much better than what they've been working with so far. Rangers, first time, I believe in a very long time anyway, the Texas Rangers have had back-to-back games with a 1-0 victory. Just a great day for the Texas Rangers as far as Jack Leiter is concerned. Eovaldi pitched a great game yesterday. Leiter, a great game today, was pulled as a precautionary measure with a blister forming on his middle finger on his hand. Hunter Green was fantastic in that start. But again, offense has been the issue for both of these clubs, and it continues today. Paul Skeens gets the win against the Tampa Bay Rays. 4-2. They get a little bit more offense finally in that AAA ballpark, getting 8 hits and scratching across 4 runs. That's pretty much what you're going to have to get right now and hope that your bullpen doesn't blow it at the end. You'll remember we talked about Bednar being sent down yesterday. Dennis Santana was in line for the save today and was able to get the job done. Brewers were able to get a little bit more effective pitching today and were able to get the win against Kansas City. They are now 2-4 on the season. Cardinals open up a can on the Angels. Looks like the Cinderella story for the Angels might be quickly ending. Ian Anderson, the offseason or spring training edition anyway for the Los Angeles Angels, did not perform well today. They lose 5-12 to the Cardinals, who are a team not doing well. We'll put it that way. They've had some nice moments so far this year, but this is supposed to be a rebuilding year, retooling year for them. And if for the Cinderella story for the Angels to end so quickly does kind of sting. At least if I'm an Angels fan. 7 runs in the 8th just kind of sunk the ship there. All right, let's see here. White Sox looks like their Cinderella story is also coming to an end. Sean Burke pitched a shutout earlier, or through, I believe it was 6 or 7 innings, shutout baseball anyway. Didn't give up a run in his first start. Gave up a few today. Ultimately, the Twins get back in the win column once again. They rise to 2-4. Let's see here. Blue Jays on top of the Nats. Cubs offense continues to roll over the Athletics. Springs didn't give them too much as far as that out of that rotation anyway. 4 runs in that second inning. Let's see here. Padres continue their winning ways. They stay undefeated, 7-0 so far, matching the Dodgers so far. We'll see if the Dodgers go to 8-0 tonight. Mariners get a little bit more offensive support there. For Luis Castillo anyway, 3 runs, is able to get the best of Tarek Skubal for the Detroit Tigers. Astros unfortunately lose again tonight, 6-3 against the Giants. Pitching still doing pretty well, but the offense just not giving them enough. Mets 6-5 winners over the Marlins anyway. They needed that one there. Extra inning game. Red Sox 3-0 winners over the Orioles. Rockies, their early season success with their rotation looks like it might have popped here a little bit. Phillies get the best, 5-1 there. And Yankees lose again at home to the Diamondbacks. So looks like the offense might be toning itself back down for the Yankees. All the talk about the torpedo bats can finally start to settle down there, but we'll see how the rest of the year goes for the Yankees and that offense. All right, appreciate you guys joining us. Welcome in Holly, Anthony, Willard. Appreciate you guys spending some time with us. Mark, Wooey, appreciate you joining us as well. Willard, Astros will most definitely rebound. Scary thing is the Astros are getting used to Walker and Paredes. Well, here's the thing. We knew they had lots of depth in that rotation. We weren't really sure of how good that depth would be for the Astros. That question has been answered. The depth has proved to be pretty good. The one thing we didn't think they'd have too much of an issue with is their offense. Outside of some outfield additions, we thought that the offense with Paredes, Alvarez, Walker, among others, would be able to support enough offense to be able to get this pitching staff through until they get all their arms back and healthy around the All-Star break. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. Offense is down across the sport. It's not just limited to the Astros. The Rangers are suffering from a poor offensive start to the season, as is much of the league out there. But I will say that the Astros struggling offensively as much as they have, especially with the guys who are struggling, is the little bit surprising part there. I still expect them to be a very good team this year, and it's just a matter of time till that offense does turn it around. Altuve has been good for them, though. Anthony, upside, you surprised the Marlins are playing this well at the beginning of the season? I am. I'm surprised the offense is performing as well as it is. The pitching staff, not so much. But I think the offense is the surprising part there. Yes, they lost and got swept. In reality, it's a pitching great series. Yes, again, pitching has been good for them. I will give you that one, Willard. Jackson Merrill, yes, he was one of the extensions. Mark, hello, great to see both Zach Gallen and Cole Ragans rebound from their first starts. Well, those are 2 guys I'm curious to see how they respond. Gallen for his pending free agency, and Cole Ragans now that he's got that extension. How do these guys respond to their situations? Does Gallen feel the pressure of trying to prove his performance? Does Ragans try to amp himself up a little bit to try to earn the contract a little bit? Those are a couple of things we've seen players struggle with at different times across Major League Baseball, and I'm hoping they continue to have positive seasons this year. I think those are 2 of the better younger pitchers-ish in the game. If my Angels can keep having decent starting pitching, we can be a wild card race this year. I'd look out for Soriano to be our unofficial ace. Soriano is going to be good for you. I will say that. I think anybody seeing delusions of the Angels in playoff contention, I'd say anywhere after the All-Star break is fooling themselves. I don't want to rain on your parade too much here, so I'll just put it this way to you. This is a rebuilding, not retooling. This is a rebuilding ball club that chose to make some interesting additions to at least stave off some basement thoughts as far as the division are concerned. I think the Athletics are going to be right there with them as far as the bottom two in the division. Do I think the additions that they've made are good enough to be able to propel them into the wild card, especially when you're going to be facing teams like the Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox are going to be vying for that AL East crown. Two of those teams will have to be in that wild card race. One of Texas and Houston are going to be there. You'd think the Royals, Twins, Guardians, Tigers, some combination thereof is going to be in that wild card race. Are the Los Angeles Angels any better than any of those other teams? I would say a definitive no. Now, a couple of the surprising teams that we've seen so far this year have been the Tampa Bay Rays. The Blue Jays have gotten off to a nice start here. I thought they would be a struggling team, especially with the circus going on around Vladdy Guerrero Jr. They've gotten off to a nice start and kind of quieted down the talk around that team. So good on them. You'll see some of these teams rise that have really performed well in this first week. But you're not going to see the White Sox, who had a really good start to their season with the pitching staff, all of a sudden elevate to one of the top 5 rotations in the game. That ain't going to happen. But you will see them rise a little bit as far as their performance that they got so far. All right, Willard, the Astros will rebound and start hitting. True, but I'm wondering more about the sport as a whole as far as the offense is concerned. Not necessarily just about your Astros, my Rangers, or any of the other teams that are struggling offensively, the Atlanta Braves. I'm wondering if we're going to see the kind of the beginnings here of offense being down this season as a whole. I think the industry itself has learned a new pitch, that being the quote-unquote kick change that was made in vogue last year, is really being taught around the game this year, and we're seeing tons of players using it, and it's been very effective for a lot of these guys. Jack Leiter is one of the guys who picked it up in the offseason. It's been a really nice pitch for him so far in the early going this year, and we're seeing a lot of guys who are already showing some mastery of that pitch, really having some nice results with it. Now the question will be, how do the teams adjust with the quote-unquote torpedo bats? How do they adjust to the new pitch? Is it just a matter of time of seeing it enough? Is there something else that is going on as far as the offense in general? But those are some of the things I'm looking for as the year goes along. Does the offense stay down, or does the offense pick up and it's just the typical slow start to the season for the offenses? Pitchers, report to camp a little earlier. They're a little bit ahead of the hitters. Maybe it just needs a week or two to sort itself out. It's still too early to make any of those grandiose, generalizations about the sport. But I will say I am noticing offense being down, and we'll have to see how it looks in about a couple of weeks here to see if it's a continuing trend. Anthony Upside, did you see the interviews recently after the game that Frankie Lindor and Juan Soto are calling for the Mets front office to trade for Sandy? I did see those. I'm not surprised. They need some starting pitching. I think he would be a great fit there. The question is, are the Mets a great fit as far as a trade partner for the Marlins? Remember, they're looking 20 and under guys. They want position players. They don't want anybody close to the major leagues. They want somebody in A-ball, at best Double-A. They don't want anybody in Triple-A or at the major league level. And they want significant significant blue chip talent coming back their way. Do the Mets have those pieces? If they do, they will be one of the contenders for him. I think the team that's out there waiting for him this at the trade deadline is the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they have every blue chip prospect that the Marlins covet right now, and I think it's just a matter of them getting the price that they want for him. I would go ahead and put them as the odds-on favorite anyway for them to land Sandy Alcantara, but the Mets are an interesting case there as well. What did they create the torpedo bat for? Is it to counteract this kick change you're talking about? No, it was more about correcting the swing path for some of these lighter hitting players. For instance, if you were consistently hitting the ball a little bit closer to the handle of the bat, then they move the sweet spot, quote unquote, of that bat towards you a little bit. If you're always hitting it towards the end of the bat, then they move that sweet spot out just a little bit. Everybody always says there's a sweet spot on that bat. That's what we're kind of talking about here with their torpedo bat. They're tailored to the individual player. And that's something that's currently allowed in MLB rules. That's why Major League Baseball came out and said these bats are just fine. A lot of teams are already out there ordering them right now. I know the Atlanta Braves have ordered them. I know there's one or two players on the Cincinnati Reds. I haven't heard too many other teams out there, but I do know several teams did place orders for these types of bats. But remember, they need to be tailored for that individual player. They don't just need a generic torpedo bat. It's not that. It's about the tailoring of that bat to the type of swing you have. That's what's making it so effective for the Yankees. And as you can see, it might not just be the bat being that shape that's working so well for the Yankees. It might have just been the Milwaukee Brewers having that rough of a pitching performance out there in Yankee land. But we've seen the Yankees kind of stumble the last couple of days against the Diamondbacks. Good on the Diamondbacks, by the way, for keeping pace in a highly competitive division right now. That division in the NL West is absolutely bonkers right now. But as far as a compensation for the kick change, no, it wasn't created for that. There's not enough data yet on that kick change. We only saw a couple of players last year really utilizing that. I believe Clay Holmes was one of those players. And we've seen Garrett Crochet was another one of those players that utilized that pitch. And we've seen, I want to say 20 to 25 more players start utilizing that pitch. And I imagine that number will only continue to grow as players try to catch on at the minor league level how to learn that pitch and then bring it with them to the major league. So appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. We talked a little bit about the extensions, talked a little bit about where we are as far as today's games. Let's go ahead and update the numbers anyway and just see if we have, to see if the Braves won. Ohtani just walked it off. Atlanta. Still winless on the year. Dodgers go to 8-0. This could very well be a lengthy win streak here for the Los Angeles Dodgers to begin the season. This could have been the night for the Braves, but the offense did just enough, I think, to be able to get the win. But the pitching staff just kind of faltered for them, especially in that 8th inning. Just not getting enough there. Absolutely. Thank you, Holly. Appreciate you. All right, let's go ahead and check in the standings now that we got all the games final for today. Blue Jays find themselves on top in the AL East. I think we all had that one penciled down in our books with the Rays in there. I think this is exactly the opposite order that I had these teams in, right before this season. I thought the Jays were going to be in last, the Rays were going to be in fourth, the Yankees were going to be in third, Orioles in second, and Red Sox in first. Completely flipped on its head after 1 week. We'll see how it is next week as well. Pretty much everybody 2-4 right now in the AL Central. Nobody wants to win this division apparently. Let's see here. Rangers 5-2 to start the year. Really excited for this team. They took 3 of 4 from the Red Sox to open their season. They took 2 of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds in a very peculiar series. 14-3 loss in the opener, and then 1-0 shutout victories in games 2 and 3 of that series. Angels find themselves 4-2 in the second spot there. Mariners still struggling with the offense, no surprise there. Astros 2-4, A's 2-5. That small ballpark that they're playing in absolutely cost them against the Cubs in that series over the past few days. On the National League side, Phillies 4-1, Braves at the bottom 0-6. This is looking ugly early here, especially with the suspension of Profar and the offense just not providing anything for the Braves outside of today. They've been really, how do I put this, lacking as far as that offense. Only 9 runs scored so far this season. Let me update it just to make sure that that's the accurate number. 9 runs scored, and they scored 5 of them today. Yikes. All right, Cardinals are on top in the NL Central. Pretty good start for them, but again, this is with Nolan Arenado and Helsley still on the team. I do expect them to trade both of those guys before the end around the All-Star break before the trade deadline. Cubs 5-4. Their offense looks like it's really good this year. Pitching staff still worries me. They played a lot of games so far already. Reds 2-4. I thought their pitching staff would be a little bit better. Hunter Green was a perfect starter today for them, only giving up the 1 run. Just got outdueled by the Rangers today in Cincinnati. Brewers pitching staff has really struggled to start the season. Their offense has been okay, I guess, but that pitching staff, 49 runs allowed in 6 games, ain't going to cut it. Pirates just can't score enough anyway. Their pitching staff's doing just enough to be able to get some of these wins, and they just can't eke out enough of these wins. They were able to get one today, but we'll have to see how they respond against a tough opponent in the New York Yankees next. The Dodgers, this should read 8-0. That final just went into place, so maybe this scorecard isn't all the way up to date yet with the results of that Dodgers and Braves game. But they're 8-0 at the top of this division. Padres 7-0. Giants are 5-1, a great start for them. Diamondbacks 4-2, and of course the Rockies at 1-4. There's kind of your standings as we go into our power rankings here in just a moment. So what exactly is the kick change? It's kind of like where they put a spike behind the ball anyway. Basically, they're kind of holding the ball in a certain way that allows their finger kind of pushes on the backside of that ball. I don't know how to do that. I'm not a pitching guy. So the way it's been explained to me, essentially they have a finger in the back of the ball that kind of acts as a spike. That's why they call it a quote-unquote kick change. Let's see here. I feel bad for the Braves. Let's go Mets. Well, I hear you, Steven. I mean, the Braves are off to a rough start. Suspension, bullpen issues cost them a couple of games to start the season, and now their offense just can't get it going. Nando, welcome in. Dodgers walk it off. I don't know about that second part there. Chester, welcome in. With Profar, I'm not making excuses for him getting caught with PEDs in the system, but it's possible that some of these players, workout powders that these guys don't advertise everything. True, but again, I'm of the when I see guys suspended for PEDs or whatever issues they have off the field anyway, I take it all with one big bag and I say, hey, if it's a PED issue, I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear, oh, I didn't know. I was sick this one week. I was trying to recover from injury. I had some tightness. My trainer gave it to me. I take whatever my doctor hands me. I don't do research myself. I don't care. I don't have any interest in any of the excuses. The fact remains is that they're suspended for 80 games, that they are not available for those 80 games for their team. Their career, the way I view them as a player, does take a little bit of a hit. Profar was one of my favorite players in Major League Baseball ever since he was a prospect with the Texas Rangers. This diminishes him somewhat in my eyes. He'll still be one guy I cheer for, don't get me wrong. This doesn't completely, oh my God, I'm a purist. I can't stand a guy who's been caught for PEDs and suspended. Come on. I mean, let's be adults about it. He got caught. I don't care for his excuse. I don't want to hear the excuse. Just say, hey, sorry, I'm going to be out 80 games. See you in a couple, 3-4 months. I don't really care what the excuse is. I don't care. I just don't. Hopefully he'll be a good player for the Braves when he comes back. But I'm going to, view him slightly differently than how I did before. I'll put it that way. All right, let's go ahead and get into our power rankings. After one full week anyway of Major League Baseball. And let me pull up the screen here for you guys. We'll start at the bottom, as we have been doing anyway. White Sox were routinely at the bottom of this power rankings chart. They are no longer going to be there. They're actually going to rise up a little bit, and the Rockies actually take over as the final team on this power rankings sheet. They did a great job as far as getting their pitching staff to perform as well as they did, and they currently lead the AL Central, so I can't put them in last place. However, the magic is already kind of worn off as far as what they've been able to accomplish so far. Doesn't mean that they're not going to still be, having nice strides this year, but I will say that the White Sox are not necessarily my pick to win the AL Central. So, for me, while they've had a nice week, they only go up one spot here. Marlins are still pretty much in the same spot for me. Angels have had a nice week. Nationals are still in this conversation as far as in the bottom here. As far as the standings, let's see, where do they currently sit? One win so far for the Nationals. That one kind of hurts a little bit. Let's see here. Marlins, though, 4-3. Their offense has been the surprising thing here. I'm going to go ahead and put the Nationals in 28th. All right, Rays have performed pretty well. The A's have not. 2-4, I believe, is what they've gotten off to. Their pitching staff looked really bad so far. I'm going to go ahead and put them in 27th. I think they've fallen fairly far in my eyes as far as what they've done so far. Let's see here. Marlins, 4-3. How high do I want to rise them? Do I want to put them above the Angels? I don't think so. Pirates are 2-5. I'm tempted to put the Pirates here. In fact, I will. Pittsburgh gets number 26, and I know you guys are wondering where the Braves are going to end up because they haven't won a game so far. They're certainly going to fall from the power rankings. You look at how we started the season anyway. I thought they were going to be in the top 3 or 4. They ultimately jumped all the way right before the start of the season to me to number 2. I thought their pitching staff had enough to hold out after the additions that they had made. I thought they made a lot of minor league additions that were really going to help them out, kind of fill in some holes until Acuna got back and healthy. But that offense has been terrible. They will certainly be falling quite a bit, definitely out of the top 5, probably out of the top 10. But they're not going to fall out of the way out of the top 20 anyway. As far as the Pirates, they're certainly having a rough start to the season offensively and with that pitching staff. Let's see here. Mariners have also kind of fallen a little bit to me. Let's see here. Who else we got? Red Sox are going to take a little bit of a dive here. All right, so we still got the Marlins here. We still got the Angels. We've already got the Pirates and A's. The Reds, 2-4 to start the season. The Brewers have been rough to start the season as well. I just don't believe in the Angels as far as what they've got going, or the Marlins right now, so I can't really rise them too much higher here. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of these teams pretty much back-to-back. We'll put the Marlins and then the Angels. Yeah. All right. Now the Rays have certainly done a lot better. So we got to keep the Rays in mind as we go through these. Reds are in competition here for going down one rung. Mariners are in that club. Brewers are in this club that could fall this far. Put teams with losing records on the bottom. It's unfair that's a winning record that low. Well, I'll put it this way. If the Marlins' offense proves itself to be better, I will rise them even further. But through 1 week, I'm not convinced that it's going to stay. Just like the same reason why I thought that the White Sox, even though they lead the division, I'm not putting them in my top 15. Sure, they're 2-4, but they still lead the division. The Rays have done really well. They've impressed me with what they've done so far. I think I'm going to put the Reds here. I think I have to. They had that 14-3 explosion against the Rangers in Game 1. Shut out back-to-back days thereafter. 2-4 to start the season. Not exactly the way I'd say they wanted to start, especially in that bullpen. I think Francona's got a nice start in some regards, but I don't think we've seen Francona's magic really impart itself to this team as of yet. It's still early. Giants have had a nice start to the season. They will certainly be rising. Tigers for me, 2-4. This might be the spot for the Tigers here. Twins, Mariners. These are, you can pretty much start interchanging a lot of these ball clubs here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Tigers here. Making sure I'm not missing anybody. I'm tempted to put the Brewers here because that pitching staff looked so rough. I'm really tempted to. Do I put the Twins, the Mariners, or the Brewers? Red Sox have a nice justification to be in this range as well. I'm going to go with... I think I'm going to go towards the Brewers because their pitching staff just looks so rough. All right. Now, is this the spot where we put Atlanta in this discussion? Because, like I said, I still believe in that offense coming around. It's just been so rough to start that they do tumble definitely outside of my top 10. The Twins pitching didn't hold up in week 1. It's going to rebound a little bit. Braves offense is going to come around, but they do have to take a tumble here based off of how their performance is so far. Mariners offense continues to be the issue. Pitching has been pretty solid. I think this is where I'm going to put still got the Rays to kind of climb here. I think I'm going to put the Twins. Then I'm going to put the Mariners. Braves. I can't go any higher for the Braves after the tough start they've been on. They will not be in my top 15, that's for sure. Let's see here. Royals have to be pretty much right around here as well. Red Sox, I think they've got some nice pieces. I think they will turn it around, but for now they take a little bit of a dip. Am I missing somebody? The Cubs, perhaps? That offense, though, is pretty dang good for the Cubs. They do rise in my rankings this week. Cardinals are a little bit better. I think I put the Cardinals right here above the Red Sox based off of their first week. Welcome in, Kid Kobe. 0-8. I don't think they're 0-8. I think they're, what, 0-6? 0-7? I think they're 0-7. Yeah, they're 0-7. All right, so the Cardinals rose a little bit here. I think the Cubs are going to be right in this range as well. Rays are going to be in this range. I think the pitching still worries me enough for the Cubs. Then I'll put the Rays after what they've done so far. All right. So I've still got the Blue Jays. Did I not put the Giants in there? Not yet. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss a spot. Giants are definitely better than those so far. I'd say they're better than the Rays. So the Giants got to be getting in here close. Guardians, they're what, 2-4 to start? I got to put the Guardians here. Cubs. Rays. And this is where I think I put the Giants. Did I get all the AL Central teams? I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Because none of them are going to be in my top 10 after a 2-4 start for all of them. Okay. Yeah, I did get all of them. Okay. Let's see. I am curious, though. Anybody else going to tumble out of my top 5? I don't think so. My top 5 is pretty solid outside of the Braves, which we saw. I put them down here at 18 after their rough start. All right. Yankees, their offense is going to rise them up here a little bit already. Blue Jays are going to rise a little bit here. Let me look at their numbers. Pitching staff, a little bit worrisome for me. The offense has been decent. They got a tough series against the Mets coming up. They will have a little bit of fluctuation, I'd imagine, but I'd guess I'd put the Blue Jays just outside of my top 10, I think. I think I'm going to put the Blue Jays just outside of the top 10. But a nice week for them. So we still have the Yankees. Actually, no. Let's do the Giants. And then the Blue Jays. Thought I'd put the Giants in there already. Okay. Yankees do rise. How high? I don't think I can put them above the Diamondbacks, but they do rise. Padres, they're still undefeated. They will be rising. They could very well be in my top 5. Baltimore, their offense is good. Their pitching staff has had its issues so far, but they're still decent. AL Central Division is trash. I'd say that they've gotten off to a poor start. Trash is still a strong statement after only 1 week. Let's see here. I think the Orioles might be the team, or the Astros, that falls here. I'm leaning Astros because of their struggles offensively. They fall to 9. They still stay in the top 10. I think they'll rise once again next week. But for right now, they take a little bit of a dip. I think the Orioles take a slight step back as well. The Mets. What do I do with the Mets? 3-3. I think this is where I put the Mets as well. The Yanks 3-2. Do I put the Yankees in the top 5? I know the Padres are going in the top 5, that's for sure. Diamondbacks are going in the top 5. Dodgers are still number 1 to me. That's not a question. That's easy. The Padres definitely are going to go up. Do I put them up there at number 2 is the question. Diamondbacks and Yankees and Padres are the risers here. Diamondbacks, Yankees, Padres. Which order would I put them in? Let's do... I think the Yankees and Mets are just very close as far as their ranking to me anyway. So I think I'm going to put them at 6. Padres go in the top 5. Diamondbacks go in the top 5. Rangers 5-2 got off to a nice start. I think they're pretty solidly in the top 4. They might be going up to 3 here. Tied for the best record in the American League so far. And that's with their offense not working yet. Decisions. Let's do... Let me look at the Phillies again. 4-1 so far. That pitching staff has been very, very good. Boy, the Astros wish they still had Tucker. True, they need offense. I will give you that. I think I'm going to go ahead and move the Phillies to 2. Because of how good their pitching staff has been, and the offense is still getting enough done. I think the Rangers move up 1. I think the Padres go here as well. I forget, who are the Padres playing this week? Drawing a blank. They played Cleveland at home. They're a pretty good club. They're undefeated, though. Actually, I think I'm going to flop these back around. I think the Padres go in the top 3. Rangers will stay at 4. Because that offense hasn't been working quite right. And the Diamondbacks go to 5. I'm just going to put it to D-backs. That way it can work a little bit better when we make this sheet. So there we go. Let me just make sure here. Dodgers 1, Phillies 2, Padres 3. That feels fairly accurate. Rangers 4, D-backs 5, Yankees 6, Mets 7. I'd agree that's the next tier. Orioles, Astros, Blue Jays, Giants, Rays are probably that next tier. Cubs, Cardinals, Guardians, somewhere in the next one. And so forth. Not too bad. What do you guys think? Dodgers, for me, still unquestionably number 1. Obviously, the Braves take a heck of a tumble all the way out of the top 15. And if they have another poor week, they will probably fall outside of the top 20, maybe even the top 25, if this same week happens once again. But I think that offense and bullpen really need to come through, especially with Ronaldo Lopez now out for a significant period of time with that surgery of his shoulder anyway. That seems about fair. Thanks, Cruz. Good power rankings. I appreciate that. I try to put some thought into these anyway. I try not to go into it with preconceived notions about where teams should go. I'm not hard and fast to where the standings are. I like to look at trends, where teams are at, and where they're going to change, going forward. If we see, another team like say the Braves, even though they're winless, which you'd think we'd have them all the way down at the very last in last in our power rankings, they still have an immense amount of talent. They've had a rough start to their year. I mean, they faced the 2 undefeated teams so far. 4 NL teams in the top 5. Yeah, it kind of feels accurate to me right now, especially with how strong the NL West is. I mean, 3 of them, the Giants are kind of that 4th team that's in that great NL West right now, but they're not quite to the caliber of the other 3. I think we'll see them kind of fall back a little bit here. I think they got the Houston Astros at just the right time where their offense was struggling, and we'll see them fall back a little bit over the next week or 2. Orioles, I'm curious to see what their pitching looks like here in a couple of weeks. Their offense has been decent. But again, main trend lines that I'm following right now are offense across the league. Is it something that we're going to see continue to stay down in the next couple of weeks? Or is it just the typical start to the year, pitchers are ahead of hitters kind of a thing? I do think we'll see some positive regression from a few of these bats as they get going. Injuries have played a little bit of a part here in the early going, and of course extensions, getting those done for Jackson Merrill, Christian Campbell, and Ketel Marte today. So some good news and some bad news across the sport, as it always is. It's baseball. It's never lacking for any story to talk about. But as far as our power rankings go, I think anybody who doesn't have the Dodgers as number 1 is fooling themselves. Anybody who doesn't have the Padres in that top 5 is fooling themselves. Anybody who doesn't have the Diamondbacks in that top 5, top 10 range, I think is kidding themselves as well. And then as far as teams that really fell, don't overreact to a poor week. You have a poor week like the Braves had, they're going to bounce back a little bit. How much do they bounce back is a question mark. Red Sox have had a tough start to the year, but they have so much talent both offensively and in that pitching staff. They should have a nice bounce back week as well. We kind of knew the Red Sox were going to get off to a rough start after the schedule they have. They will be bouncing back here relatively quickly. The second half of the month anyway gets a little bit weaker for them as well. So expect them to be right in contention for the lead in the AL East by the end of the month. All right. Appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up at the bottom of that video. Really means a lot to us if you wouldn't mind helping us out and doing that. Follow us on X at UpsideSN and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network. We'll be live with you guys again tomorrow night. We'll start a little bit earlier. Going to do a little bit of change as far as our schedule anyway. I do have the 9 to 5 job that does take up most of my time anyway. I wish it ended at 5 anyway, but we'll try to be starting earlier as we go through the rest of the year. So going to be changing things up as far as our scheduling, but it'll still be the same great content that you guys enjoy. We'll just be changing up our schedule just a little bit to allow some earlier audiences be able to join us as well. All right, appreciate you guys. Stay safe out there, everybody, and hopefully we have another great day of baseball tomorrow. All right, y'all have a good one, everybody. Thanks for that, Kid Kobe. Thanks for the subscription.